Hi again folks, how is all doing? Back in September last year, a chap called Philip sent me this old Hornby Battle of Britain class Spitfire to see why it had suffered a bit of a meltdown. If you watched that video, you'll remember it had a nasty short due to a rogue spring getting stuck in the motor. So, with the body pretty much beyond realistic repair, I put this in a box and kind of just forgot about it for a while. But I thought it was time to have a look at it and see what we could do with it. Let's just see how this runs as it is. So it runs, but it's a bit noisy and a bit rough, and it's pulling about 400 milliamps. We'll shove it into the shed and we'll see what we can do with it. We'll get in. Okay, so the tender on this is absolutely fine, so we'll just get it out of the way. But yeah, that's a nasty melt, and I don't see how that could be easily repaired because it's distorted all the way down to there. Same on this side. So as far as I'm concerned, that body's a write-off, which is a bit of a shame because otherwise this is in perfect condition. So what I've done, I went on to eBay and I've got a replacement body. This wasn't cheap, but it wasn't overly expensive. So yeah, and it's in perfect condition as well. So a direct match. And I'm also going to fit a replacement XO3 motor from Peter's Spares. So it'll look as good as new and it'll run even better with that. And once it's all done, I think I'll put this up for sale. The Falkirk Model Railway exhibition last year, a chap called Julian gave me this with the idea of using this as a donor body. This has been quite heavily weathered and it's a fighter pilot, not Spitfire. So it needs renumbered and yeah, it possibly needs repainted completely because the weathering, I think it's been coated with some kind of varnish and it's all cracking. So yeah, this needs a bit of work. So yeah, I didn't fancy doing that. So thanks to Julian for that, but this will make the job an awful lot easier and it will be a perfect match for the tender. So first of all, we shall remove this body. Undo that. Screw pops out. Just like you see the extent of the melting from the inside of the body there. And the outside as well. So I'll stick this in my scrap box, but yeah, it's a write-off as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to remove the motor, check the movement out, and fit the replacement motor. I mean, I could service this motor and it would run okay, but I just thought, let's put this up for sale with a replacement motor, so it'll run as nice as ninepence. So XO3 motor, the one with the nylon worm, seems to be in pretty good condition. Oh well, that wire's just popped off the pickup. Need to fix that. Let's just put this on the test track just to see how well it moves. Yeah, that's fine. We'll give it a bit of a clean up. Quite a bit of oil on the underside and lots of little bits of polystyrene. And this wire will need to be resoldered to the pickup down in there. So there's a wee bit of work to do before we fit the motor. We'll remove the front and rear bogies. Unscrew the underframe. So the underframe is held on with clips there, there and there. I really can't be doing with these clip-on underframes. Just silly. Right. Clip it at the back. There we go. So we've got bearings in the axles. So I think this will be a nice runner when we fit the new motor. I think we'll lift these out like that, so we can give this a really good clean. It's got a traction magnet, which I'm very tempted to knock out, but I'll just leave it. Right, okay, get that out of the road, and we'll give this a good scoosh. And going over with the monkey brush, I'll give the wheels a good scoosh as well. Just take these wheels out just now. There's that one falling out. Just make sure this drive gear is nice and clean. Paint's coming off the wheels. Wow, it isn't half coming off. I'm going to need to be repainted. So I might as well take the rods off. I'm going to repaint these wheels. Just black acrylic paint. I'll give it a couple of coats. Right, I'll leave these just now, and I'll come back to them tomorrow, because it's nearly beer o'clock. Right, so this is actually a couple of days later. Just got distracted with a few things and didn't have time to work on this. But off camera, I put my rods into the sonic cleaner, so they're all nice and clean, chassis nice and clean. The drive wheels have been painted, and I've resoldered the wire onto the pickup there. So we'll put this back together, and then we'll fit the new motor, and we should be good to go. Alright, so wheels first of all, make sure I get them on the right way around. So that's going to go in there like that, so the pickup is on that side. Okay, so I want my insulated wheels want to be on this side. That's in there like that. Get some fresh oil into the axles. Now, I want to get this wire up through there, including that pickup. This wire's come off there again. It's not the best design, that. Let's just get this in position. So this wire here solders onto the pickup there, but it keeps coming off. I'll need to try soldering it again. I'll give this another clean up. I'll maybe strip this to get some fresh wire, fresh solder. Oh, no. Sometimes wires just don't like solder, and this is one of those times. Alright, I think what we'll do, see if I can get a bit of fresh wire to solder onto this. Right, I can't really use the endoscope here because it'll just get in the way, because I've got to get the soldering iron at a funny angle so I don't melt the there we go, so I don't melt the plastic underframe. But that's soldered on nicely now. And you can see that's soldered on quite securely. Sometimes old wires just don't like solder. Okay, so this pickup wants to go down in there, and then these two wires will join together onto the motor, and there'll be another wire from the screw for the motor there into the other terminal. Right, okay, so we don't really need this wire. We can get rid of that. Right, we'll get the rods on. So, put that on. So, fit into there. Screw through, put the spacer on. Okay, that should be free moving. So this is an XO3 motor replacement with a nylon worm. I'll just check that it fits nicely. Now we're going to have to do any fiddling around with it. It goes in. So one of the problems you can come across with these motors is there's no place for the wire to come through other than up the front, and that's going to be hitting the drive gear. So I think what I'm going to do is, with my rotary tool, is just cut a little groove into the chassis there to allow the wire to come out underneath the motor mount. So I've cut a little groove here, and that allows the wire just to tuck in there. So when I put the motor in, so the motor will now fit in, and the wire can come up the side like that. Another thing I'm going to do with the rotary tool is cut this away here, because when that fits onto the motor, you can see it's almost touching this terminal here, and once the wire's soldered on, it'll be even worse. So cut that piece away at the top there, gives a bit more clearance. So there we are, that's now cut away. So that will help prevent a horrible little short circuit. Right, okay, that's all looking fine. I'm going to join these wires together at that point and then take a third wire to the terminal there. So, should have used a bigger bit of heat shrink. Cut that bit of heat shrink off. Right, I'll shrink that. Now we want to solder that wire to the positive terminal here. And we also want to include the suppressor. You don't need the suppressor, but it's still regulation that they're supposed to be fitted to electric motors. So that will go in there like that. I'll solder that. Solder that on. Should have fitted the bracket first, but never mind. Put it on now. Some solder on there. There we go. I'd really want to fit a terminal onto the end of this wire like that, but I don't have any. So what we'll do is just wrap it round the screw. It'll be fine. It's out the road. So I've just wrapped this wire around the screw here to make contact with the chassis, but I'll get a terminal to make a better fit. But there we go, that's wired up. Let's see if it works. So the motor fitted in pretty well, so hopefully we won't have any running issue, but nothing. Gee whiz. Why not? Interesting. Not a cheap. Now I didn't test this motor, I just assumed it would work, but let's have a look. Yeah, the motor does work, but but I'm getting a short circuit from somewhere. Okay, so somewhat unexpectedly, this didn't run. It appeared to be shorting, and I couldn't see where. I checked the pickups weren't touching the chassis anywhere and everything else, and no, it all seemed absolutely fine, but it appeared to be shorting. So I removed the suppressor and fitted this one, and it now runs. I've never come across that before, one of these causing a short. I mean, this is the one that was on the original motor, which was working, but no, putting it on there just caused a short circuit. But it's going now. So I've fitted the front and rear bogie, I've oiled up the linkages, greased up the worm gear, screwed on the underframe. So yeah, I think we're good to go. And we'll fit the replacement body, and that should be job done. Don't know why this has the screw from the top. Could easily be underneath. There we go. Right, okay, let's go give it a run round the layout. Okay then, let's bring it out. So there we are, that's Philip's old Hornby Spitfire fitted with a new body and a new motor. Yeah, that short circuit caused by the RF suppressor threw me for a bit. I don't know enough about them, but I've never known one to cause that issue before. If the locomotive was just for me, I'd just leave the suppressor off, but as I'm selling it on, I thought it best to leave one fitted. I did have a bit of a fiddle with the motor mount to get it to sit right, as seems to be the usual case with these replacement motors. I think they may need a very slight adjustment made to the design to raise the worm just a fraction of a millimetre, as they almost seem to be pressing down a little too much on the drive gear, I think. But a few bends to the mount sorts it. It just needs to be fitted as flush to the chassis as possible. Just be mindful if you are fitting one of these that they may not be a simple swap out, it might need a bit of fiddling about with. I bought some terminals for that connection at the rear, so I have fitted one. I didn't want to sell this on with the wire wrapped around the screw. So yeah, this is now a nice running old Spitfire in excellent condition. So I'll be putting this up for sale via my coffee shop page, but not immediately. I'll put it up tomorrow probably. So if you're in the UK and are interested in buying this, check back tomorrow. I'll put a link in the description when it's available. Bear in mind though, I've bought the replacement body and the motor for this, so the price will reflect that. Thanks again to Philip for sending me this, and I'll catch you later, folks.